Good evening and thank you for coming. My name is Lori Hidalgo and I'll be speaking about my research paper, Teaching in the Margins, a Qualitative Study on the Motives of Educators at High-Risk Public Schools. The purpose of the study was to show the importance of understanding why generations of educators begin and continue their educational careers at high-risk inner-city schools. What are the benefits and downfalls of these individuals working for these institutions? And most importantly, what are the motives behind the willingness to stay at these institutions for long periods in their career? The social relevance of the study is information gained from the study will allow those interested in it to have a better understanding of the underlying motives in which individuals dedicate their lives to the educational systems. It will also allow for a better understanding of the issues and successes these educators experience daily within the school systems. The literature I used for reference spoke on issues with administrations, the parental and community involvement with the student, and the student is why I teach is normally what all of these educators stated was the main reason to why they continued in the school systems. My research questions focused on the motives of why the teachers work at these high-risk public schools. Does the environment have any effect on the educators? And do the educators continue to stay in these school systems because of the success rate for themselves or because they're looking out for the student? The methods that were used to gather this information was an interview that had a total of 25 questions focusing on the struggles inside and outside of the classroom, community involvement, health, financial resources, and the motivation to teach. The interviewees who participated in the study were a total of 3, 2 of which were women who had 15 years of experience each, both Hispanic and in their early to mid-30s. The last interviewee was a male who had over 40 years of experience, currently retired and African American, and was in his early 60s. Each participant was asked the same exact questions. The data was collected using an audio recording device. Each interview was roughly 30 to 45 minutes, and the interviews were transcribed, totaling somewhere between 10 to 15 pages each interview, and then was used to study key patterns regarding the responses of the participants. My role in the study was merely to ask the questions during the interview and provide any clarification as needed. I avoided making any interjections to allow the interviewee the opportunity to express their point of view open and clearly. I did, however, provide comfort and reassurance to the interviewee as needed. The emerging patterns from the interview are as follows: student support, campus challenges, motivation, building trust in classroom relationships. In the 3 interviews, there was a consistent message that arose from them. The educator remained at high-risk public schools because they wanted to make a change in the student's life. Their main purpose was to help the student reach their full potential, and the educator genuinely cared about the success of the student. Campus challenges was a reoccurring theme within the interviewees. Here are a few quotes. Ray Palmer stated, because it comes down from the principal. The principal weren't trained, and the principal had to make sure that the teachers are also trained to use this equipment and the materials. And if the principal didn't take an interest in it, then he didn't focus on the teachers being interested in it either. So that's where the system fell apart. Miss Selena Kyle stated, and it has to start at the top. And it's like, unfortunately, right now, teachers are made to feel like it's your fault. What are you doing? What are you not doing? That the kids are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So it's just a blame game. And lastly, Tabitha Almendares stated, we have administrators who have become more managerial experts instead of educational experts, so they don't have the appropriate training to support the students and the teachers in the classroom. The next reoccurring theme that took place within the interviews was the trust and relationships that the teachers build in the classroom with their students, holding it to a higher accountability versus the education at times. Being there to support the student is very important. That way that they know you care for them and you're willing to go the extra mile for them to succeed. Here's a few quotes from that. Ms. Tabitha Almendares stated, I put the learning on hold and I've catered to my students. Mr. Ray Palmer said, "The principal would even send me some of these students because I would take the time to sit down and actually let them know I'm here for you. It's up to you to talk to me, and if we need to take it further, then we can." Ms. Selena Kyle stated, "When students know you care, they're willing to open up to you and share things with you." The next reoccurring theme was providing student and teacher support inside and outside of the classroom. All interviewees made it very clear that they were here not only to help the student but also help their coworkers. It was very important that both student and teacher knew that they had a support system so that they could thrive on the next level. Mr. Ray Palmer stated that the child wasn't dumb. He wasn't on a roll and he just needed someone to believe in him, someone to be there and someone to tell him you're not dumb and give him that positive reassurance. Ms. Selena Kyle stated that changes their mindset and it's all communicating with them because they're kids. And it's like they see you push their buttons and then they're going to keep pushing them. But if they see you actually care and you want them to succeed, then they start to change and celebrate the little baby successes, and that's all that they need. And lastly, Ms. Tabitha Almendarez stated, "I want them to stay in the profession. I want teachers to say, I'm going to change things." And similar teachers, I feel like their steam burns out by the end of September. They're disillusioned because there's a lot of obstacles, and I get it, but I'm also there to support them. In conclusion, while I was doing my research, one of the most important pieces of literature I came across was entitled "Too Angry to Leave," which focused on an educator who felt that unless she made an impact on the system, she was not going to leave her job or change schools. This was consistent with those who I interviewed. Even if at one point they felt like they had to leave the current school they worked with, they ended up back there because of the love they had for it and for the students. They were and still are determined to make a change for the better and help the students succeed. The significance of this data is simple. The educators need a voice. There's more to these individuals than they get credit for. With so many changes taking place daily with the public school systems, it is important to hear out the teachers and have a better understanding of what type of support and resources they need to better themselves in the classroom and also to better the students. There's many things that we don't acknowledge that the educator goes through, like those of health conditions, or they're having outside personal issues, and the job sometimes weighs heavy on them. But if there's enough support for not only the student, but also for the educator, from the community and from administration and staff, then there's no reason why we should be losing so many educators every year and why these students should be failing. New questions emerging from this research that I would like to answer is, do educators in the non-public school settings also face the same challenges? Do these educators also look to help the students succeed inside and outside of the classroom? And what is the main difference between both these educational systems regarding administration and support? Thank you for your time.